Welcome to Wisdom Talk Radio, a collaborative community of explorers in conscious living. Welcome to today's episode of Wisdom Talk Radio. This is where we explore the depths of conscious living and what it truly means to live an expanded life. Join us here to be inspired, encouraged, transformed, and leave with a deeper sense of joy and possibility. Speaking of what's possible, how do you make the leap from where you are, wherever that is, to where you truly want to be? What might the energy of a dragon have to do with this? I hope you're curious. I hope that kind of lights up your curiosity. Well, I have a very special guest today, and I would love for you to stay tuned to find out what I'm talking about those things. And I also want to make mention of two things. Even though by the time this episode comes out, from when it's recording to when it actually comes out will be a little while, I had the pleasure and the honor of being part of the Women Who Podcast magazine in their summer issue. So go and search that out and find out more about my journey with Wisdom Talk Radio. And there's a network called the New York City Podcast Network. Lots of different podcasts are connected with it around the country, maybe around the world, I'm not sure. But I've had quite a number of shows that have been picked as staff favorites. And that's a real honor to me to have some people that are in the community, in the podcast world, who say, hey, we really like this one. So just making mention of all of those things. And who am I? I'm Laurie Seymour, host of Wisdom Talk Radio and CEO and founder of the Baca Institute, home of the Quantum Connection Process. You can go to the Baca Institute to discover your unique connection with Source, the essence of who you are, by taking the Quantum Connection quiz. Why quantum connection? Because we're each designed to directly connect with Source. We do not have to go through intermediaries. And we're each designed to make that connection in our own unique way. And knowing your own style helps to open a deeper connection, your own deeper connection with the universe. It's the secret to creating what you truly want in your life. Because who you are is exactly who is needed. Well, my guest today is Carol Walkner. She retired from a successful corporate job in sales and marketing to follow her heart and passion. As a Reiki Master energy healer on the side, she began doing this work full time. A dream and, reality dream. Oh, let's make this real. Adding clairvoyant, medium, and medical intuitive to her list of brilliances, and she does have many. Brilliances, skills, and superpowers. She does quantum healing to make a difference in the lives of so many people. Carol also developed a coaching program that helps women in middle age transform their lives from where they were to where they want to be. Welcome, Carol. I'm so excited you're here. And we've got some fun ahead, because one of the things I've discovered about you is how much fun you are.
Thank you, Laurie. You're right. I'm lots of fun.
You really are. I mean, we got to be on a, I don't know, a spiritual squad.
Yes.
Back, and it was so much fun to be on that platform with you together.
I agree. I adored you and your energy the second we were together.
Yes. Yeah, me too. So where do we begin? How are people that are stuck or at a crossroads? And because that's really talking about so many people, and that can, by the way, happen at any point in life. How do they find their way to a life that really is going to speak to them, that really comes from their heart, comes from that place where they feel so connected to what it is?
That's a fabulous question. And part of the reason they're not living a fulfilled or purposeful or loving life is they're not coming from their heart. And
what does that mean? I'm gonna
so,
pin you down right away.
all right, all right, all right. So, because I've been there, done that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the work that I do and to get women get people into their hearts out of that stuck place, maybe from a crossroad where they are and not sure, to moving forward on a path that would be more meaningful for them, is take them on a journey into themselves. Who are they? Especially, well, probably men and women. We don't stop to say, okay, I'm 45, I'm 50, I'm 60. What really matters to me now? Who am I now? Now that the kids are gone, the work might have changed, or I'm in a not a good environment at work, so I want to go out on my own. What will that look like? I have so many questions and no answers. And so part of the work that I've done on myself and I offer to others is, who are you? What really matters? And what do you value at your core? And are those values being honored by yourself, by others? And how do you want to feel? So it was probably over 10 years ago. And I usually pick a word for the year, and my word was freedom. And I asked myself, okay, you got to be careful what word you pick. But
Mm-hmm.
so what does freedom mean to me? What, how could I be more free, or what? So I really, when I choose a word, it's how is it going to bring something different into my life, show me more insights? What will that word or phrase do for me?
Mm-hmm.
And how might I operate on a deeper, different level, and possibly from my heart? So that year, I realized I wasn't operating from my heart. I had a very good life. Was I happy? Maybe, maybe not. Was I fulfilled? Not at all. Was I on purpose? I don't think so. So,
So wait a minute. I want to stop you there for a second. You just said I had a very good life. What the heck does it mean to have a very good life and not be fulfilled, not be happy, not be on purpose?
so I was in a loving relationship. I lived at the beach. I was making some money. My heart wanted me to work with more people, to be more out there in with my skills of clairvoyance and using my energy work and really doing some quantum work with people, and I wasn't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of pieces of my life that were great, and but my deep inside wasn't great,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't fulfilled, wasn't happy. So the outward looked fine,
Yeah.
but it was like the deep inside. And so that's where I went, and that's where I take people. So the outward looks fine, but let's go deeper.
Yeah.
So
Because we know that. We know the experience of really it feels like life is not working. Yeah,
yes,
everybody outside. I remember that when I left my first marriage. And we had been together a very long time. We had a young child, and everybody looked at us as kind of not necessarily the ideal couple, but oh man, you guys are so great. We were conscious. We were in the same kind of spiritual path, and it took me a long time. And at that time, had also been a relationship therapist too, and I wasn't seeing how unfulfilled, how unhappy I was in my core.
that's it. It's at your core.
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah, I can lay on the beach and I can have parties and I can be with this guy and be with my friends. But
Mhm.
am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Am I on purpose? Am I joy filled at my core? No.
Yeah. And that takes
So,
quite a bit of self discovery, self revelation, and real willingness to surrender to that which is true.
yes, yes. And I believe we get to a point where we almost don't feel like we have a choice anymore. We've got to go with what's true. We
Mm-hmm.
can't keep doing this. And I have one of my phrases is I live my life with no regrets. So I don't want to look back 5, 10, 15 years and
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, I wish I had done that sooner or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so when I was in my 60s, when I blew up my whole life, put everything in storage,
Mm-hmm.
drove from New York to California. So there you go.
Okay, so I want to underline that there isn't a there isn't a clock. There isn't a calendar that says, "Oh well, no, you passed your time. You can't do it anymore."
No, I was in my late 60s.
Okay.
No, there, there is no clock because, well, there could be because I was saying, how many more years do you want to stay here?
Ah, okay.
Yes,
That's a different way of using the clock.
yes, yes. And my answer was no more years. I
Yeah.
need to, I need to, I need to do something different. So something more.
Yeah, and I'd love for you to speak to that feeling of there is more because I feel like that's what alerts us, is that
Yes,
feeling. So can you speak a little more to that? I mean, you're certainly referencing it from your own experience of it.
it's, it's part of it is what's more, but what more is possible. So it's really getting out of that black and white. I'm on this on this track and I can't move to what if I go over here and do this? What's that going to look like? Or
Mhm.
um, and I would love to preface this by I knew I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the universe had my back. I felt, and as soon as I had that feeling, it's like, okay, I'm doing the best thing for me. I was going to say the right thing, but there is no right or wrong. I was
Well,
doing,
maybe capital R right in
yes,
that bigger
yes,
picture.
yes, yes. And the best thing for me at that point in my life. And was no doubt. And it's not about courage or bravery. It was about faith and trust. I trusted that it was all going to work out.
Hmm.
I had faith that wherever I was going, I didn't have to know what was going to happen or how or whatever. I just, all, because as a clairvoyant, I'd say, well, what's next? And the answer would be, you're on a need to know basis and you don't need to know.
Exactly. And I love that that came to you in that way because I've had this experience where if I had been given the picture of like what was to come, I probably would have been so terrified that I wouldn't have done anything.
Right,
So sometimes we can only see like the next step. Sometimes we
right.
can't even see that, but we know we have to put our foot out, and
And
step into the unknown.
yes, yes. And I've always done that most of my life. And I know when I'm stepping off the cliff, there's either going to be something right there or I'm going to sprout wings and fly.
Exactly. Exactly. I think of the in the tarot system, the fool card. The fool is stepping off and he looks like he's stepping off the cliff, but we don't know what can happen. I remember one of the Indiana Jones movies where he's at this huge chasm and he's got to get to the other side. And the pathway is invisible. He made it visible. That's the other part of it. But we make it visible by our willingness to put our foot onto it without
Correct,
knowing what it's going to be.
correct, correct. And and that's the curiosity and that's the magic and that's the fun. It's like if I knew everything, It's like I don't even ask answers for myself. I don't want to know, because then I've written many books and a couple novels. And as soon as I figured out how it was going to end, it's like, oh, now I'm bored. I don't want to write the rest of the book.
So then you might need to go into it as a, well, maybe it'll change. Let me keep going because maybe
Right,
the ending will
right.
shift. So where does for you the spirit world, the angels, the dragons, the magical entities come into play? That's a big question,
So
I know. So it's probably multi-leveled.
it's multi-levels. So I studied Chinese medicine back in the 80s. So I've been really hooked into Eastern ways and thought patterns and stuff. And according to Chinese astrology, 2024 is the year of the dragon. So, and I have dragons all over my house. I love dragons. I believe they're feminine, they're magical, they're wise, they're spiritual, they're just they're magical entities. And literally, I can look, every room that I have in my home has some kind of dragon in it.
Wow.
And what I've realized this year, because I've reintroduced a coaching program called The Way of the Gentle Dragon.
Uh-huh.
I have manifesting circles the first Thursday of every month online, also related to the traits of the dragon. But what I realize is some people are afraid of dragons, and it's like
Right.
they're fierce. And I go, yeah, they're fierce, but they get the job done. And so I'm kind of toning things down about dragon a little bit, not much, because come ride with me on the dragon, or I'll see you next year when it's going to be about something else.
Right, right.
So I've been seeing things my whole life, and I grew up in a church, but I never considered myself religious. I considered myself a spiritual person, open-minded to what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm clairvoyant, I see things, and I'm clairaudient. So I believe your guides, my guides, ancestors, the angels, dragons, whoever is talking to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I can hear voices and not end up in an institution.
Even though you might respond to them too. Even though you might have a dialogue.
I have been, yes, I've had dialogue, and
of course,
before I was totally 100% trusting in what I was hearing, I would argue with them. And I have some funny stories about me being on my front step arguing. The neighbors must have thought I was crazy.
Yeah, my mother always said it's okay if you hear voices. It's not okay if you answer back.
Yeah, right.
So there you were on your front step arguing.
Yes, because we were having a party, and I had beer in one hand and wine in the other, and they screamed at me, "Put the beer down." But it's in the wrong hand. I have to put the wine down to open the door. I'm literally arguing. And they get louder and louder. So this was a good lesson for me to understand that I'm really here. It's not my own head telling me stuff. It's really the spirit world.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So of course I put the beer down, or I put the wine down first. I did not listen to them, and it fell over and broke. So I had to go out and buy more wine. That's why they were telling me to put the beer down, because the beer was in a 6-pack. It would not have broken. The wine was in a bag.
Okay. We're stubborn, we humans.
Totally. But they needed to show me something funny or something lighthearted like that. And that was immediate that I would get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said, thank you very much. I'm really sorry for myself that I have to go back and buy another $25 bottle of wine. But
I'm willing, because That was a lesson. That was a pretty cheap lesson, actually.
It was a very cheap lesson. It's so obvious. If it wasn't so obvious, who knows?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
now, and that was a long time ago. That was like 15 years ago. So now I listen.
And what does that you zipper your lip?
I zip my lips. Don't argue. I listened.
So talk to me about listening, because I feel like that is such a crucial thing. And one place I can bring it into is people who spend a lot of time praying. I often wonder, when do they listen? If they're praying, is that prayer an act of, okay, this is what I want, this is what I want, and asking, but how often do we stop and get really quiet to receive?
Excellent, excellent question. Probably not very often or not often enough. I believe that people who are praying will get a sense kind of answer and maybe a real answer if, if they are open to embodying it. They're probably
Ah,
getting some kind of answer, but are
mhm,
they open enough to understand that it's the universe, God, whatever you want to call that entity,
mhm.
helping them?
Yeah,
Um, when I went through mediumship training, it was like 3.5 years, and we had to meditate every single morning and write down what came. So it's
had
similar.
to listen.
We had to listen. So we meditate, we ask a question or whatever, we get quiet, and or just even meditate and see what comes. So it was really uh, very good. It was a good way to learn listening
Hmm. Hmm.
and writing down. And sometimes I would ask a question, and whatever I wrote down might come true. Sometimes it was just listening what's coming through, and sometimes it was meaningless, but it was a practice, and it was similar to praying, but you're waiting also to see what else comes.
Yeah, you're kind of holding that space.
Yes.
I find that's a physical, and it's a really on every level, that place of being open to receive. And it's not passive. That's the curious thing about it. It's a very active state, not busy, but active in the sense of you are activated, available to
Yes.
receive.
Yes. Yes. So when I work with my energy clients, um, COVID, one great thing came out of it. I don't have to be in person to do hands-on healing
Mhm.
because my hands can come right to the computer screen or the phone, or I have clients all over the world. And what I do is when we're online, even in person, but especially online, I set up like almost like a bubble between the two of us. So it's like you and I are together in this energy bubble. And then I make an intention that it's for your highest and best good. And then I open myself up as a channel to the spirit world, the angelic world, the ancestors, whoever, guide. So it's very active. So I'm into you, and I'm getting downloads from wherever.
Mhm.
And so it's a consistent movement process, and it's very active. There's nothing passive. And if I
Mhm.
have more than clients a day, I'm exhausted. So I know it's active.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm thinking about that for anyone though who is wanting to open to more of their own inner guidance, their own, and get their own answers, is that to recognize that you can't kind of just sit back and say, oh, I'm just going to go into be in bliss.
Yeah.
Is there something about bliss that when I hear that from someone, I often at least think of or feel like it's passive. It's that, well, I'm just going to be here, and the spirit's going to do whatever it's going to do. But how active are you in your willingness to receive, and then ready to act?
Right. right. I have a tip or a tool for people too if they want to do it themselves.
Okay.
So if if you have a question, you write the question at the top of a blank piece of paper with your dominant hand, put the pen down, take a couple deep breaths, pick the pen up with your non-dominant hand, and the answer will come.
Mm.
It's automatic writing, or it's the other thing. The way to do automatic writing is just hold a pen, ask a question, and then tune in, and with the intention that something's going to come. So you're not just there in a bliss state, but you're actively waiting for an answer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such an important place to recognize that we have access to it all because we're part of it all.
We're all in this together, and people who don't believe that, I feel bad for them.
Well, more than that, it's like we're part of the whole universe. So
Yes,
we can, we are the universe.
yes, yes.
So you just talked about, how to do some writing to get something. How do we, how do you suggest that the spirit world, the angels, whatever it is, the ancestors can actually help us?
Part of it's being open and believing that there are angels, there are guides, there are ancestors available to us.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's probably 60-40. 60% of the people believe that. Maybe it's worse, 40 don't. Um, so it's having the belief. And if you ask and you receive an answer, it's not poo-pooing the answer, but maybe contemplating the answer, because you may not understand what the answer means.
Mm-hmm.
And I can give you another example of that, but
Please.
it's part of it's just being quiet
Yeah.
in yourself, and having the belief that it's setting the intention that I'm going to be open. I want to know the answer, and it's not asking difficult questions. Um, it could be. I'll give you the example. So a few weeks ago, I had a new client, and I have new clients all the time, but one of the new clients,
Yeah, I understood.
her her father had passed away about 18 months ago, and she wanted to see if we could connect with him. So I said, well, we'll try. When I see someone who's passed on, I see them on a different plane. They're healthy, they're vibrant, they're happy. Whatever they love to do on earth, I see them doing it over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, if he was a golfer, he may be on the golf course. We don't know, but we'll check. We'll check. So um, so I tune into her energy. I tune into, she gave me her father's name, so I tune into his energy on the other plane. And right away, I hear bananas. And it's like, so loud. That's all I hear. So I say to her, does bananas mean anything to you? She bursts into tears and she goes, oh my gosh, that's my dad. That's my dad. And she said, when she was like 5 or 6 years old, he thought bananas would be healthy. So he had her eat 4 of them for breakfast, and she was sick all day long and never ate another banana again. Eats bananas. So I said, well, he's here. She knew he meant well, and I said, well, he still feels bad and he's sorry and he adores you. But
That's
it's like,
wonderful.
so right away he was available because she needed that connection. She needed to hear that
Yeah.
he was available for her, loved her, cared about her. And we all know that they love. So it was interesting that it was just so loud and clear. Bananas. So it's like, okay. Um, so so that would show her that the connection was there.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and if
And that may
I'm,
be all that she needed. I don't know.
yes, yes. And a lot of times, if I'm in person or even on like a Zoom call, if someone says, they want to contact their mother or whatever, I say, well, she's right over your left shoulder. And
Mhm.
because a lot of times I can feel energy, even on the computer
Mhm.
about somebody.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times they'll go, yeah, I know, I feel something there. So
Mm.
they know.
They know. That's what I'm always so struck by is the level of what we know in some part of ourselves. And then we have all this doubt that comes from, all our ways of having been raised and educated and whatever. Uh, and then I feel like you're helping people go beyond all those ways that we have been trained to not trust, to not believe.
Yes. Yes. Yep. That's part of it. And it gives them peace. It just
Yeah.
gives them solace. And um, I would say 90% of the time after any kind of interaction that I have with a client, they go, oh, I feel so much lighter. And it's
Mm.
gone from tears to smiles. And
Mhm,
that's
mhm.
that gives me chills. So I'm doing my job,
You're
creating
doing your job.
smiles, creating fun and joy.
Well, I can feel it. I can feel it. So, on the other side of that, if people are caught up in their own feelings of anxiety, of being really stressed by one situation or another, the situation itself doesn't really matter, but how they're reacting to the stress is with stress. How they're reacting to the situation is, oh my God, and oh my God, whatever. And whatever the head then creates the thought processes from that. How do you help people navigate that?
So box breathing really works, and it's breathing in to the count of four, holding it for four, breathing out to the count of four, and holding for four. So it's like the box.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it a few times, it helps calm you down. The best stress reliever, number one stress reliever, is bubbles.
Bubbles. Now, if you're listening on the podcast, Carol, tell people what you just did.
I,
In other
I
words, you're
have a
not watching
bottle.
on the video.
I have a tiny bottle that says number one stress reliever, and I just blew bubbles. It's a bottle of bubbles. And so when you're stressed and anxious, we tighten up,
Mm-hmm.
we hold our breath, we hold our bodies stiff. So if we've been in pain and we stiffen up, we're going to be in more pain.
Mm-hmm.
If you're worried about money and you're stiffened up, is it going to come in? No.
Mm-hmm.
So what blowing bubbles does is you have to breathe in, blow out. So you stop holding your breath, you take a deep breath, you blow these bubbles, and you see these rainbow colored orbs. And what are you going to do? You have to smile.
Yeah.
So part of the anxiety just went away.
Right.
All of the stress just went away.
And that opens you up then to be able to hear, to receive something new, something different.
And so every Monday, I tell most of my clients who are stressed about money or clients or whatever. So every Monday, I belong to accountability group, which is fabulous. Anyway, so on Mondays, I look at my calendar, it's blank. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I have podcasts, I have different networking
Yeah.
things, but I typically don't have, I might have one or two clients. That's it. So I go, oh, great, I can clean my office. I can call this person. I can do this. I can do that. And I literally, really, truly get excited. So I'm all open. And of course, the week fills right up
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not like this. I'm goody. I get
Yeah,
to do
yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah.
And then
This is a good thing. This is a good
this
thing.
is
I
a
get to
good thing.
play.
And my office is still a mess, but I have a lot of clients.
Oh, I love it. I love it, Carol. Um, I read something on your website that I didn't know about you and didn't know that you did about work you do with real estate, with homes that are trying to get sold. And it was in it. I'll have you talk about it. Just it landed with me in such a way because I could feel the truth of it.
So I work with a few real estate, well, over the years, I've worked with quite a few real estate agents, and a dear friend of mine's an agent also. And the house isn't selling. It's either the energy is either maybe the couple selling it was getting a divorce, or something was happening that is bringing not happy energy into the house.
Mhm.
So when people walk in, they're going to go, ooh, and they don't know why they're going, ooh, but they're going to walk right out again.
Mhm.
So realtors will call me, and I go from room to room and see what the energy feels like.
Mhm.
And if it's off, I I change it, and if I feel anger or any other kind of negative energy, I pull it out and throw it out the front door, send it away. And when I'm done, I blow love into the whole space. So when someone comes in, oh, oh, they're going to
It
walk
feels
in.
so good in
I,
here.
I know. So I have tons of stories, but I'll tell you one quick one. So my realtor friend here in Cincinnati called me because she she had a client. The house was up for sale for quite a few months and it wasn't selling. And the client had already bought a condo on the other side of town and really needed to sell the house. And her father had purchased a house for her when she was like 20. She was disabled, so he wanted her to have a safe, good place to live for her whole life. And now this is like 40 years later,
Mhm.
and she wanted to be in a different neighborhood in a condo. This house had stairs, and it was like it would be easier for her to be in a different place, a smaller place with an elevator, etc. So they called me because they had done, all the things that realtors do. The house was staged, it looked beautiful, it was pristine, it was amazing. So I'm walking around. I said, yes, everything's great. So I'm up in her attic, and all of a sudden I start coughing. The attic had been redone, and I'm coughing and coughing. And I said, was your dad a cigar smoker or cigarette smoker? And she goes, yes. And I go, well, her dad had passed away several years ago. I said, oh, he's right here. He doesn't want you to sell the house. He might. So
Ah.
because he worries about you and he doesn't realize how good the condo is going to be for you. So you go back downstairs. I'm going to have a talk with him,
Mm-hmm.
and, and we'll ask him to leave. So I chatted with the spirit of her dad
Uh-huh.
and got him out of this little space so I could stop coughing, because I'm clairsentient also, so I feel things. So I could tell he was a smoker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he understood why she wanted to move, and so all he wanted to do was make sure she was okay. And once he knew that, so within 4 days the house sold.
Wow. Wow.
It's magic.
You never know. You never know. Or it's magic or it's all energy.
It's all it isn't that. Yeah, it's quantum physics.
Mm-hmm.
Energy is quantum physics. It's like what's in motion stays in motion. What's stuck stays stuck. I just get things back in motion. Get electrons and the protons moving again.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, Carol. So I love this. I really do. Um, would you tell people how they can get a hold of you? And you just briefly mentioned something about your manifestation, some things once a month, and are they open for people to attend? All of that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I have a manifestation circle the first Thursday of every month. It's online. Everybody is welcome, and it's $38 each time. And it's for an hour. It's 5 o'clock Eastern time from 5 to 6. And this year, we're going through the traits of the dragon. So we've done strength and wisdom and transformation. We just did good fortune last week in for August. And so each month, July was fun, play and joy. So I pick a different theme or topic, and not that I call it related to the dragon, but it's really more, it is, and it's more of a theme to, to present. And I have experiential exercises, writing prompts, meditations, tips and tools, and people share or they don't. And I get between 8 and 15 people, mostly women, and we have fun, we share, and we leave. We come back the next
great.
month.
That sounds great.
And it's not connected. So if you're new for a month, last week we had 2 new people. So some people come every month, some people drop in and drop out and just come and go or come and stay.
So I'd love to put the link for that in the show notes. So
okay,
can you send that to me?
I can. Thank you.
And where can people find you in general?
So my website is my name, carolwalkner.com. My email, my best email is a Gmail. It's carolwalkner888@gmail.com. And my website has my phone number and other ways to get a hold of me. And I'm on LinkedIn with my name, Carol Walkner, and Instagram. And every Monday morning, I've been posting a Dragon Oracle card reel.
Ooh.
So you could go back to Instagram. Instagram has most of them, and then it goes to Facebook also. And so I pick a different card from this wonderful Oracle deck that I have, and I have a reel, and I talk about the card, and so that's always been
great fun. Yeah.
fun. And it's like I'll get most of the comments is like, oh, this is exactly what I needed to hear today. Because it could be about courage or confidence or serenity or peace or whatever. I just picked the card and we'll see who. So it's fun and
yeah, great.
Good way to connect.
Yeah. Thank you, Carol, for being here with us today. Thank you for all that you've shared and all that you've offered. I so appreciate you.
Thank you, Laurie. I really appreciate you and being here. And may the force be with you. May the magic be with you.
And can I say to our audience, thank you for being with us today? Because somehow, without you, why would we be doing this? And
I know we'd be talking to ourselves. We don't want to do that. Yeah. Hello, audience.
So join us here regularly for more wisdom, discovery, and illumination. And remember, you can find us wherever you do listen to podcasts. We are on YouTube. So if you like that, you've got that today. And if you've enjoyed listening today, please leave us a review because that helps us discover, that helps not us, that helps other people discover what we're doing here. And truly, I believe that that's what helps transform the world because as people come into what's possible for themselves, everybody else gets it too. And for more about how to thrive with your personal quantum connection, take the Quantum Connection quiz now. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us here at Wisdom Talk Radio. We wish you well in your conscious explorations. For more information and to join in the conversation, our website is wisdomtalkradio.com or at Wisdom Talk Radio on Facebook.